Welcome to the Fellowship of the Script, the podcast where we dive deep into the craft struggles and stories of filmmaking. I'm your host, Derek J. Bowder.
And I'm your other host, Ben Escobar.
Whether you're just starting out or you've been in the industry for years, this is the place for real talk about the art and business of film.
So today we're going to be doing a news roundup of the most interesting film stories hitting the industry right now for the month of January 2026. There's a lot of cool stuff that's happened. There's, first of all, Kathleen Kennedy has stepped down as president of Lucasfilm, which a lot of people are satisfied about, and talks, points to a new sign for a lot of the franchises we care about. Most importantly, Star Wars, which is going to be really interesting. So we'll talk about that, talk about a new deal that's happened with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, some video game adaptation cast announcements, Warner Brothers and Netflix, a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but before we dive into our news stories, if you're watching on Spotify or listening, please give us a follow so you get notified every time we drop a new episode. That helps our podcast get recommended to new people, and we would greatly appreciate it.
That's right. And go check out the Indiegogo campaign for Derek's debut feature around midnight, still live. They are rocking and fucking rolling. They are at 90% of hitting their goal, which is insane. And still, I think you're past halfway, or where are you at?
But yeah, we're way past. Yeah. Days left. So at the time of this recording, we got 14 days left. So at the time of this going up, you got a little less than 2 weeks to grab backer rewards. And we have so far raised $22,558, which is just absolutely incredible. Thank you guys for all the support. And if you haven't already, go check out the Indiegogo page. It's called Around Midnight. And there's a bunch of cool stuff that you can get access to and be a part of the experience.
Right.
All right, Ben.
On that.
Thank you. Take us away.
Yeah, so this is a cool story. We'll start with this Matt Damon and Ben Affleck new Netflix deal for their movie The Rip. I did not see it. Some people are watching it. People like it. But they've just secured a new deal with Netflix with following the release of this movie that's got an interesting new model to it.
Yeah, so I have seen The Rip. We can talk about that here in a little second. But as far as this deal goes, it's essentially a deal between Artists Equity and Netflix that essentially allows the whole cast and crew to receive bonuses depending on these 5 levels, whether they're hit or not in terms of viewership hours. And I think they said the top level, they actually based it off of the performance of K-pop Demon Hunters. So if they actually get 110% viewership rate percentage of like all of Netflix, as in people are not only watching the film, but some people are watching it more than once, then they'll get all 5 levels of bonuses. But this is really cool because that means that the cast and crew are getting to benefit from, how this film actually performs on streaming, which we haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's huge. So it's a really big shift, and if you've been on a film set, you know that it's more than just the actors and the director. There's a whole giant team of people who make these films possible. So this is huge.
Yeah. Netflix clearly likes the model. Rip is performing well, and it gives them confidence in that approach. They've had a lot of big hits lately, which is exciting for them and makes sense why they're going after Warner Brothers pretty confidently. But yeah, it's interesting. It's like the whole cast and crew is additive towards this asset, or it's like a stock, as opposed to usually just the writer, the director, and maybe the top talent getting some royalties that last for a while.
Royalties.
Residuals, royalties,
what is
whatever
this
you want to
term?
call it.
I haven't heard it in a long time. No,
Yeah.
royalties have been a big thing that you mainly hear it from actors, but essentially, the way that the old model used to work is if the film performs well or the film continues to generate money, whether it was via rentals or people buying DVDs and stuff like that, you would actually get checks in the mail at specific time intervals that were kind of like a bonus for the film or TV show continuing to get viewership. And with streaming, that has kind of just gone away. And so this is kind of a way of that coming back. And yeah, for filmmakers, it's just a big reminder that leverage changes everything. When talent proves they can deliver, then you can change how things are structured. And I hope it I hope it continues to do well. I mean, it is number one. That's kind of expected whenever a big movie like that drops on Netflix. But we're hoping that I'm sure Ben is too, hoping that the film continues to perform well, so that this is a model that we can start to see more, and
Mhm.
hopefully other streamers will adopt as well. Because I think it benefits everybody when a cast and crew feels like they're appreciated, which is something we've talked about in the indie scene. Then you tend to end up with better films.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, seeing like a major push for stars having like fair back end participation. This is a win that I hope would trickle down for other production companies, smaller teams and stuff. But yeah, this is a cool new deal. I hope other people take part in it.
And as far as the movie goes,
Yeah, how was it?
it's pretty entertaining. I think the director, I think it's Joe Carahan. Does that sound right? He did The Gray, which is probably my favorite of his, the one with Liam Neeson and the wolves. But there's something about his movies. I've watched a couple recently, and I just feel like the third act always kind of drops off, and his endings don't really feel satisfying, kind of anticlimactic. And I felt that way about this one too, unfortunately. But the first hour is intense in terms of like tension and suspense. It's a if you like crime, I mean, this is some good stuff here. And Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are just so great together on screen. They've known each other for a long time, so they have really good chemistry, obviously. But yeah, no, would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments about this deal, and what did you think of the rip? I've been telling people, even if you're like not interested, just throw it on in the background or leave it on loop. Support this film, because if this film does well, it benefits the whole industry. So
Right. So our second story, the Warner Brothers and Netflix sale. So things are kind of escalating fast. There's a lot of questions of, who's really going to win, who's not. There were some lawsuits thrown out there where it was like Paramount was like trying to sue them
yeah,
to get some legal insight or some data insight that you would get by opening up the case. Just real wacky stuff. Anyway, let's talk about it.
yeah. So Paramount's kind of starting to seem like a bit of a whiny child about the whole thing, but I mean, it's understandable considering how much is at stake here. So essentially, Paramount has counteroffered like 5 times or something like that now, and Warner Brothers just keeps rejecting it, and kind of rejecting it in a quick way that made them kind of suspicious that Netflix is interfering with it, and so they have sued. Paramount has sued Warner Brothers for letting Netflix interfere, or is it Netflix that they sued? Do we need to like look this
I
up?
think it was Warner Brothers.
I think it was Warner Brothers.
It
For
was like
essentially,
they sued whoever they were trying to buy, which is crazy. So
it's like, I can't get my way, so I'm gonna sue you. It's like
yeah.
they pulled a card out of the Joshua Block book.
Oh my god. Oh
And I
man.
think they mean it.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. Yeah, it basically claims like Netflix like used leverage, like block, complicate other bids behind the scenes, which makes sense. But who knows where all that's gonna go?
Yeah, but in an interesting turn, Ted Sarandos did come out, I think, like a day ago, and actually clarified. And maybe this was when he was. I'm sure it happened while he was, talking about the rip or something. But he essentially clarified that if the Netflix deal does go through, Warner Brothers films would keep their current 45-day theatrical windows, which I
Mm.
think I think that's a win. But I can't remember what he had said before. It was like 15 days is what he was initially saying he was going to do, which is what they do
God
currently with
knows.
Netflix films. And so when everybody called him out, of course he had to like come out and clarify and say, no, we're gonna still do
Yeah.
45 days. And I mean, he better if this goes through, he better keep his word with that, or else people are going to be very upset.
Yeah.
So
I remember the fear was Netflix would just kill theatrical entirely. A lot of people
yeah,
like also still don't believe what he's saying now. So, I would
yeah.
wait until there's action, not talk.
Yeah,
But
of course, Netflix
yeah,
is trying to like calm the studios down and filmmakers and anybody who's worried that Netflix is just going to kind of blow up the theatrical system and get rid of it. So yeah, but
um, well, I guess the uncertainty will remain for the next weeks or months, maybe the rest of the year. So yeah, more legal fights, rejected bids,
yeah,
corporate tension.
it's a situation that is going to continue to develop, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about it as things continue. But again, let us know in the comments. Do you think the Netflix Warner Brothers merger is going to actually happen? Because things look pretty up in the air right now. I can see it going either way. I think if neither Paramount or Warner Brothers, or sorry, if neither Paramount or Netflix gets Warner Brothers, then it's probably just going to be broken up and sold off, based on like IP or specific things like somebody's going to buy the streaming assets and somebody's buying the this specific division and the gaming division and yada yada. So
Yeah.
a lot of different ways it could go, but it's really interesting to see how things are shaping up because this is one of those big deals that really essentially influences how the industry is going to look in 10 years. So yeah,
Yeah.
a quick ad break. If you're enjoying the show, please subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. We would appreciate the support and click that notification bell so that you get notified anytime a new episode drops. You can also follow us on social media for behind the scenes updates or seeing, what we're just kind of doing on our own. Ben's working on video games. I'm making my first feature. I go by at Danny Dorito 23 and at Derek J Bowder.
I go by at Real Ben Escobar or at Genie Boy Games.
You can also join our Discord if you want to come hang out. It is free to do so. You chat about filmmaking, movies in general. You can network. I've seen some people actually like, hey, you live close to me. Let's like, you want to go like, and it's like, just DM them. Why are we doing this? And then, but anyways, like people are making friends, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But there's also special giveaways that you can get through the Discord, like this Zodiac Blu-ray, which we're gonna announce the winner of here in a second. But if you want to go above and beyond, we also have a Patreon. It's $1 and up. So for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive hangouts. There's also producer opportunities, more giveaway opportunities that we're also about to announce here. But Patreon is a place where you can directly support us, and it means a lot to us and keeps the show going. So, and then also got the wall of G Fuel behind me. Got the G Fuel shirt. Got the Sage Mode 2.0. Get some G Fuel. Feel your filmmaking sessions, the late nights. Code Danny D is currently 30% off. And I drink it every day. This stuff's amazing.
Agreed.
Giveaway time.
My writing sessions.
Oh, yeah.
As we always say, but lately I've been writing a lot and I've been downing this
Burning the
Metal
midnight
Gear
oil.
Solid.
Dude, that's a cool shaker, man.
Yeah, it's great. And good flavor, too.
Yeah, you like the flavor?
Yeah, very good.
Glad to hear that. All right, so we got a couple of giveaways here to announce. So first up, we have this director's cut of Zodiac on Blu-ray, and that is going to Atov 12. Congratulations, Atov. Fantastic movie. And then we have I'll do the US G Fuel tub giveaway first. So we have a tub of Passion Palooza, which is tropical passion fruit, previously known as tropical rain. And this is going to Tommy Slays, our boy Tommy, a producer on the show. Great guy, supported around midnight. That is a solid flavor too. And then we have for the international tub giveaway, this is Tamarind Agua Fresca. It's called Cajita. It's a blue beetle flavor. And it's a really good flavor if you're into like Mexican candy and stuff like that. Really interesting one. And that is going to Cal, another one of our big supporters who also supported around midnight as an associate producer. So thank you, Cal. We will get those giveaways sent out as soon as we can. I will be reaching out within 24 hours of this episode airing to get that shipping information. And yeah, thank you guys for supporting the show. Enjoy your giveaways. All right, on to our next story. Big one, Ben.
Oh yeah.
They're all
So
big today, but
you could say if you've ever seen the Return of the Jedi, Star Wars Episode 6, you'll probably remember the ending with the celebration on Endor, and that's essentially what was going on this week for for a lot of people on this news, which is that Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down from president of Lucasfilm. And yeah, that's big for Star Wars more than anything else. This is like, I mean, I have so many thoughts on this because
me too.
it's.
I've been wishing for
what do you
this
think?
for a while.
Yeah,
I mean, she's been running the studio since 2012, and she's been overseeing everything since the Disney acquisition of Star Wars. And so, um, everything that they've done in terms of the Disney Plus shows, that abysmal sequel trilogy, and these like one-offs that weren't marketed well and had like directors fired on Solo and all that stuff. It's always been Kathleen Kennedy that I've blamed for it. A lot of the fans have blamed her for it. I've seen some people defending her, which I think is kind of crazy. Like, but she did all these Steven Spielberg movies as a producer, and it's like, yeah, but Star Wars is the issue. We don't like what she did
yeah,
with Star Wars. I
yeah.
don't care anything. Like, cool, Kathleen Kennedy, she's done cool stuff. I think she should have stayed Steven Spielberg's producer and stayed in that lane. But yeah, Ben, you want to keep us going here?
It's hard to overstate how influential like her time was, because like there were some box office wins, if you could call it that, but like the fan division and like that behind the scenes turbulence is like everything that is unfortunately what she's remembered for. That's what all the articles are saying. It's like Star Wars has a new hope. Like what? Why are we like? I wish we could be saying like, God, what an end of the era. What a way to pass on the torch. Star Wars is at an all time high, and this lady left such a great legacy. And in some ways, yeah, there's wins. Like Mandalorian did extremely well.
2 seasons. 3rd season was abysmal.
Right.
Gosh.
Andor is good. But yeah, it's
Andor's probably the best thing that they've honestly done outside of those first 2 seasons of Mandalorian. But there's so many missteps as well. The Acolyte, I mean, that was just like every week people were just roasting it for a new reason,
So tough. So yeah, I guess the next big question is, what comes next? Disney has a chance to obviously reset the franchise creatively and strategically, but I don't know, man. There's some stories where some adults from our past will be like, "Where were you when Obama was elected president?" I'd be asking like, where were you when fucking Last Jedi came out? It's like that was such a formative experience as like a 90s kid, I feel like, because you're into college, but like 90s or not, I just think our generation all kind of walked out of that experience really, I don't know, heartbroken.
I mean, dude, when I saw Rise of Skywalker, I literally walked out going, "How the fuck did this happen? How does it? How do you essentially neuter a franchise with one movie? Like you just tarnish it for a beloved franchise forever." And it might sound like we're being harsh here, but I mean, it was kind of like there was hints of it early on. Like when that first movie came out, it was like, "Oh, great, this seems like they have a plan." And then when The Last Jedi, like they were like, "Oh, J.J. Abrams is not doing it," and this and that. It's what is going on here? There's definitely some like creative control issues going on behind the scenes, and a lot of people say it was Kathleen Kennedy who's essentially, she was just kind of controlling things behind the scenes. Like she was the all-seeing eye that could, do no wrong. And it's just, I mean, I wish this had happened sooner. It's been really sad to see a franchise that a lot of people did multi-generational franchise here that people have grown up watching, and just essentially overnight Like that brand was just completely neutered, and whoever comes in now, it has a lot of cleaning up to do. Who do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be is it Fellini? What's his name?
Yeah, he actually is
Is he the one
confirmed.
doing it? Okay.
He's Dave Filoni, and he's the guy behind like the
Clone
Clone Wars
Wars.
series and a lot of the most beloved stuff.
I
So
don't know.
it's in good hands.
I don't know if he's the right guy to have this much
Sure.
control, but it can't be worse than Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah. Like
You know,
we shouldn't be hearing stories about the Steven Soderbergh, Ben Solo move, the hunt for Ben Solo, and like the petitions and all that. Like that's embarrassing when that gets publicized as like such a good, objectively great concept with a great voice, a great director, and just no explanation for why that was shut down. So hopefully there's new life to that and other stories that we don't even know.
we've heard countless stories over the last decade of these directors saying, "Yeah, I went and pitched a Star Wars movie, and like everybody that I pitched it to loved it, but then somebody said, nope, that's not happening," and everybody's like, "That must have been Kathleen Kennedy." So I hope that they turn this IP around. This is a huge turning point for Star Wars, for better or worse. But I'm thinking it'll be for better. And but the question is, after so much scrutiny from the fans, is this a franchise that can be turned around? I'd like to think it can, but there's always that saying: once the genie's out of the bottle, it doesn't go back in. And I think a lot of the damage a lot of the damage that was done to the franchise under her leadership is irreversible. I mean, they can say, the new trilogy is not canon, but then a bunch of other stuff doesn't make sense if they do that. So it's not that
Yeah.
simple,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah,
It's going to be tough, but we will see what happens. I had this kind of thought like fairly recently before Mandalorian came out, so maybe it's not that relevant, but Star Wars objectively was very, very precious cargo and very delicate, and kind of like when you had the 6 episodes, it was like, it's perfect. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. And if you're going to touch it, you better make sure you're the absolute perfectionist about it. And if they had made a sequel trilogy that was perfect, I don't know, maybe it would have even increased the security behind it, increased the protection. Whereas now it's this wild goose chase of righting wrongs and letting everybody just try their hand at getting it right, which has created an opportunity where I don't know if you would have seen a Steven Soderbergh movie. And we obviously haven't seen the Steven Soderbergh movie, but like, I don't know if we would have seen something like Andor or something experimental and different and really good, like risk taking, had, Star Wars, the new sequel trilogy or something like not been as perfect. Because I think we would be potentially even more insecure, or maybe that's a crazy thought, but
I
maybe
don't know.
there's
I
hope.
mean, it's one of the things that's been concerning to me about any merger or any acquisition of IPs. I mean, we're seeing it now with Amazon taking over MGM, and the fate of the James Bond franchise is very up in the air. But it felt like as soon as Disney acquired Star Wars, it was very hush hush, but behind the scenes, it was essentially like, roll the cow in here and let's hook up the udders. Let's just, get as much juice out of out of this franchise as fast as we can because we need content. We got a new
Mhm.
streaming platform coming,
Mhm.
and yeah, obviously that is not something that should be done to these huge franchise IPs because the reason that they are big franchise IPs is because they've been handled delicately, and when they just milk them for all that it's worth, that almost never works out. I mean, there's El Camino is an interesting example because a lot of people said that movie didn't need to happen, and you've seen El Camino, I'm sure, right, Ben?
Yeah, I remember
I
that
thought
very
it was a
well.
good movie, but at
Yep.
the end of the day, when you sit down and think about it, did it really need to exist? Not really, but it was nice to have some closure for a character. I thought it was handled well, and it was cool to see Netflix get behind something like that. And then Better Call Saul. I mean, I would argue it's just as good as Breaking Bad, but even Vince Gilligan's like, I think it's time to leave that world alone, at least for a while. And with Star Wars, it just felt like they're announcing stuff before it's even like concrete, and kind of it felt like they were somewhat taking into consideration how the fans reacted to stuff. but other times it just felt like they were shooting stuff down without any real reason to do so. Like this Soderbergh project's a great example of that. But I mean, the Boba Fett show, because I stuck with Star Wars basically up until Obi-Wan. Once Obi-Wan happened, and I essentially I sat down and I went, why wasn't this a movie? There's no reason
Yeah.
this shouldn't have been a movie. Even if it just went straight to streaming, it would have worked better as a movie. But it goes to show, it's like that. No, we have to stretch this out and get as much juice out of it as we can. So I hope that stops. That's the one thing that I hope, is that they let Star Wars breathe a little bit. I mean, they've kind of been forced to do that, but still stuff is coming out, like, the Mandalorian movie, which looks like a glorified episode. Um, Still gonna watch it because I did like the first two seasons of Mandalorian. It was the third season that didn't really focus on Mandalorian, and that's where the issues came. But this movie's fully focused on them, so I will see it. Plus, I review movies for a living, but um, as far as the shows go, I mean, I've been tempted to go watch Andor season 2, but seeing that how they didn't really market that show the way it deserved, that left a bad taste in my mouth too. It was just the amount of money and passion that went into that show, and for them to not even really acknowledge it. It's so embarrassing, you know.
It's very
For the
well reviewed,
IP,
though.
and yeah, it is. Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things. Um, I hope this the Starfighter, is that what it's called? The
Yeah.
Starfighter. Yeah, I hope that's good. I do
Gosling
like.
one?
Yeah, I like Ryan Gosling, but it, it's hit or miss with these like standalone things. So we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
I hope they right the ship.
Same here. With great power comes great responsibility.
Yep.
But speaking of that, so there's some video game adaptation announcements that have happened. Nothing in terms of new IP that's getting adapted, even though if it exists, there's an adaptation for it, which that's the
Yeah.
secret new rule of video games now. So there is a casting update on some of the two biggest game adaptations that are in the works: God of War and Tomb Raider. The reactions are pretty split. Both of the shows are Amazon Prime shows. And yeah, let's talk God of War first.
Yeah, our final big news story today is kind of split into two parts here. Like Ben said, we got some big video game announcements. Starting with God of War. So Ryan Hurst, who you guys may know from Sons of Anarchy, he's always been kind of like supporting characters in a bunch of big stuff. But he's officially been cast as Kratos for the upcoming God of War series. How do you feel about that, Ben?
I think it's a good cast. The other thing is he played Thor in God of War Ragnarok, if you've played the most recent God of War. So it's kind of an interesting switch up.
Did not know that.
Because it's like the obvious answer is just cast Christopher Judge and he reprises his role, but it's not that easy per se, because on a studio level, they don't give a fuck who Christopher Judge is, unfortunately, and that's just the harsh reality. Having seen this firsthand myself, you have one producer who loves God of War and will sing Christopher Judge's praises, but like, you cannot convince a bunch of non-video game playing execs, including the non-video game playing showrunner of this game, that this Christopher Judge guy is going to cut it. And so what they need is this balancing act, which I don't know the exact story of how this came about, but it just writes itself, that Ryan Hurst is a seasoned television actor, looks just enough the part as Kratos, and knows the game and is enough of a fan. It is a very safe, mutual, people pleasing kind of cast. So I'm okay with it. I thought like their announcement of it, which was contrary to how you would do The Last of Us or any of the other ones, was they posted his headshot and then they posted Kratos right next to it, just to show like, look how well we did. of course, they didn't do that for Bella Ramsey, or they didn't do it for Pedro Pascal.
Can you imagine what that would have been like?
Yeah.
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
The fans were doing that, and that's why.
Yeah.
But and they didn't do that for Lara Croft with Sophie Turner, which we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, it's a good choice. They also casted the person who's going to play Thor's wife, which is kind of like, wait, what? So you casted Kratos, and you casted a supporting actress of the villain in the show, the wife. Okay, where's the
kind of random? Yeah.
Where's Atreus? But anyway, it's fine. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I mean, I think with my limited knowledge of the games and what I've played, I've played a little bit of the new first one. I think I played maybe 2 hours of it on stream at one point. I think that if this show leans more grounded and character driven, then Brian Hurst is a really strong choice. But no matter what, whenever there's an announcement like this, it's going to be divisive. But it seems like for this one, most people are kind of like, yeah, that works. That's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I'm holding my breath. We'll have to see the other cast, and of course, we're gonna have to see how the show itself turns out. But
yeah, it's definitely going to come down to execution.
Yes. That said, Fallout is excellent, and Amazon Prime has done a great job with that.
I'm not as crazy about the Fallout show as everybody else. Like I think I don't know. I'm getting tired of TV writing. I can just see the formula every episode, and it's just like, man, like I can almost predict like, something's gonna happen here, and then cliffhanger, and and I'm not as big of a Fallout head, I think, as like somebody like my brother is, but yeah, no, I think the Fallout show is probably one of the better examples right now of how to do things.
I compliment that, not having watched the entire show.
I am caught up, and
oh really? Okay.
Yeah, I find it really annoying how they're cutting back and forth to these plot lines. There's like four plot lines. One of them's like in the past, and it's just very jarring. They like hard cut. Like there's no like smooth transitions in this show, and it drives me crazy.
Interesting. Okay.
From an editing standpoint, and a writing standpoint, I'm like, come on, man. Like,
yeah,
it shouldn't feel like a door is getting closed in your face every time we cut to something, unless that's how you want the audience to feel. But most of the time, it doesn't feel right.
No, I feel that.
But over on the Tomb Raider front, Sophie Turner has been cast as Lara Croft, and that announcement has been way more divisive.
Yeah. So I don't know about all this. So GameStop, which is it's a whole other side mission of what's going on with GameStop. But they're trying to be this very divisive edgelord kind of like marketing thing, and like acknowledging,
be like Wendy's.
yeah, exactly, and like memeing on themselves, memeing on their fucking trade.
Meanwhile,
things.
They're closing like half their stores.
yeah, and kind of being like, we suck, but we're like, this is all going according to plan. Anyway, they had a really viral tweet saying this is not Lara Croft, just like posting the Sophie Turner like image of her as in costume, and I thought that was like kind of hilarious because it is edgelord, but like it also, there's something weird about it. It's a glorified cosplay, but more than that, costume choices aside, like they're copying and pasting what they're given. They're just going off of the source material, and you can't hate them for that. I think objectively, it's just a bad photo. It's just a bad photo. You just they should have stylized it more. It looks like the same effort, more or less, put into like a yearbook photo. And if you're gonna fucking what?
They can't have Sophie Turner like take a couple of dumbbells and get a little pump before they take these pictures. Like, come on, man.
I mean, there's that, but like, just do a fucking photo of her. It feels
so lazy. It feels so lazy,
Yeah,
like
it's just the presentation. Like, just do a still, fucking color grade it, put her in front of the Arri Alexa. Don't do it in a fucking yearbook backdrop thing. Like that's
there's like idea. A million photos of the same thing. Essentially, is what I saw.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a necessarily bad thing. It was just framed. I don't know who the fuck's quality controlling this, but like
I think Sophie Turner is a totally fine actress. I just don't know if I really picture her as Lara Croft. She just doesn't have the right build for it, and like I don't know. I mean, everybody is obviously going, "Oh, she doesn't have big enough rack for this," and stuff like that. And it's like, come on, man. It does. It's not just
Yeah.
about that. It's just like we can't like we just it's frustrating to me that we can't go with somebody who's a little less known but fits the character better because but then it makes no sense, Ben, because then what with the Bella Ramsey thing was so out of left field. It just doesn't makes no
Right.
sense.
That's
I
yeah, who knows what's going on there. But like the Sophie Turner thing, people were excited for Sophie Turner before they saw the photo. And again, I think that when you do something like that and try to be like, look at this cool thing we're doing,
of the red
you're
glasses. I was like,
yeah,
did she
it's
take men's glasses? It's like
I mean, I kind of thought that too. I was like, do I look like that? No,
like,
no,
where are my
no.
glasses at? Somebody
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. I think I'm rooting for her. I just think it's bad marketing, and like you could have just some common sense behind how you're presenting this shit. But also like whatever the fuck Amazon is doing with their little like in-house game development, there's something weird about the 007 game and how that looks, and there's something extremely weird about how this new Tomb Raider game or two Tomb Raider games they're working on is. I just I don't know. I'm
I've
not the
never been into
happiest.
Tomb Raider. I remember growing up seeing like the Taco Bell meal with freaking gosh, what's her name? The early 2000s movies. Why am I blanking on her
Angelina
name?
Jolie?
Yeah, Angelina Jolie. You know,
Yeah.
I remember going like, oh yeah, I've seen the Laura Croft like I've seen the video game. Yeah, she looks like Laura Croft.
Right, right.
I'm not getting that vibe from this. The movie that they did, the last movie they did with that other actress who I'm having trouble pinpointing what like major things she's known for. She's kind of played a lot of side characters, but she looked more like Laura Croft than Sophie Turner
Oh,
does.
the Ex Machina girl.
Yeah, yeah. I thought she looked closer than Sophie Turner, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think they did
Alicia
Sophie Turner
Vikander.
dirty. They did her dirty, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. And the whole goal of this, by the way, is that they're trying to do this all in one universe. It's like Amazon owned and operated, where it's like the reason she looks like that is off of their video games. They're probably going to have her having a cameo or some voice thing in the video games that they're making. And they like, it's this Fortnite kind of approach. And it's like, this isn't fucking Fortnite. This is cringe is what it is.
Battle Bus is going to show up in the show.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know, man. I'm really dissatisfied with the direction they're taking, because I thought where we left off with Tomb Raider with Crystal Dynamics on like those trilogy with like Rise of the Tomb Raider and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, shit was
I heard
hard.
I heard good things about those games. Yeah.
Yeah, those are great, great games, and it's just
I mean, I
not
guess
everything
it
can be
does
Fortnite.
it does depend on what they're aiming for here. If they're going more for like Survivor era, more classic, or is it something new entirely? If it's something new entirely, then okay, but
Yeah.
maybe communicate that, to your audience here so they're not just left in the dark wondering what the direction is here because right now, like you said, initially there was people who were like, "Oh, that's a good choice." But then the way that they presented it was just I don't know.
Mhm.
I felt like they were like, "Oh, quick, let's do a quick photo shoot. Who's got the red glasses?" Ben. and, then, and then they take these pictures. They're like, "All right, this is gonna be good." We just, God of War. Everybody's happy, and then boom, they just. I mean, it was so like crazy how quickly it went from like, "Look, God of War" to like, "Oh, what is going on over here?" And somebody's like,
Yeah.
"This is not my Laura Croft. Where are the traffic cone boobs with like the old
Yeah.
pixel like
Yeah.
some people are kind of memeing with it, but I don't know if this was supposed to get people who are non Laura Croft fans excited about it. I don't think they succeeded at that at all either. You know,
Yeah, it's just confusing more than
yeah.
anything else.
I mean, I look at
Extremely.
her and I immediately think Game of Thrones is the problem too. I think it's just I don't know, man. It's the big takeaway is casting it sets expectations immediately. So you got to make sure that you present it well. Which like you said, I thought God of War was handled well, at least with Ryan Hurst his announcement. Um but after The Last of Us, man, like audiences are not going to put up with this shit anymore. They are not going to give any slack. And I'm curious to see where they go with this stuff and what other announcements they got cooking up. Hopefully, they're taking notes about how their execution is you know the kind of reactions they're getting, and
Yeah.
maybe thinking about how to do this better. Because I don't know. I there's so much happening right now. So many things cooking. So many things happening behind the scenes with these mergers and these streaming services are just kind of acquiring any IP they can get their hands on right now, and so we're going to see a lot more of this with how big video game IP adaptations have gotten
Hmm.
recently, and I guess we'll see. You know, I would like to hope that things will get better, but every once in a while there's an Until Dawn or a you know so or a Last of Us. Which do we know if there's a third season of that coming?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly still, but four, I don't think. If you ask me, I
I
don't think
don't
it's
think
going
a
to happen.
4. Yeah, I don't think a 4, but I would honestly not be surprised if if the 3rd season just falls apart because it doesn't sound good right now. But I don't know. I'd be curious to see what the viewership numbers look like on paper from season 1 to season 2, you know? It definitely didn't feel like it was as big the 2nd season. So,
It's a drop off, but yeah, the only thing we can do is I don't know, make your own shit. That's why I'm.
do you think they would be do you think they would try to do like a reboot or like or like a just redo it, like do another Last of Us and just kind of start from scratch or do
That's
movies or,
funny.
you know? And there's
Um,
also supposed to be a 3rd game at some point, right?
we'll see about the third game. I think there's no chance of a remake or a redo of the HBO Last of Us series unless we get season like a part 3 that's like as big of a splash and mainstream and gets all the people who liked the HBO show to play that game for the first time and who are dying to know what happens next. They play the game, and then it just creates more leverage for Neil and Sony to be like, okay, if we have to do a live action of this, it's going to be an entirely different ball game. There's no fucking,
I just had a funny thought. The other day, Theo wanted to play. I can't remember what game it was. Maybe it was like Hogwarts Legacy or something. And he's like, "It won't let me download it." And I go, "Oh, there's too many games on here. We gotta get rid of something." So we start looking through, and The Last of Us is on there. And I turned to my wife and I go, "Hey, you still plan on playing more of The Last of Us?" She goes, "Only if you want to play it with me." And I said, "Fuck that show," and I deleted it. And if I'm
yeah,
doing that, other people are, dude. It's
yeah,
I mean, that
yeah,
those are harsh words. I don't think I exactly said it like that, but it was essentially like, the show pissed me off, so
yeah.
I don't really have any desire to play that anytime soon. And that sucks because knowing somebody like Ben, who's such a big fan of that franchise, it's crazy to see people embrace it and then turn on it so quickly. But
Yeah,
that's why you can't rush stuff, and you got to make calculated decisions
that's right.
when
I
it
mean,
comes to these IPs.
I'm rooting for part 3, and I'm a fan of the games. I'm not a fan of the show, but yeah. Anyway,
Anyways, that wraps up our news episode here today. Ben, what's one cool thing that's happened since our last episode?
let's see.
What's going on with your lava lamp back there? Why does it look all weird?
Oh, I just turned it on like an
Oh,
hour ago,
okay,
and it takes like an
gotcha.
hour to do
Looks like
its
something's
thing.
growing in there or something.
Yeah. It looks like the Last of Us intro on the show, like with the fungus everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Sorry.
no, you're good. I've been not much. I've just been writing a lot. Doing a PT inspired horror game for a game jam. It's like a David Lynch themed game jam. I might have brought that up last episode, but a lot further through that now. Got some cool updates on my game. Like the character looks good finally, which has been a hell of a journey to make a good looking character. And I don't know. I've got some interesting meetings lined up next week. Meeting a writer that has worked with PlayStation productions like I have, so I'm interested in talking with them and hearing about their experience thus far, and just seeing where life goes.
Yeah,
What about
I
you?
bunch of around midnight stuff. You know, obviously it's been very cool to see the support behind the Indiegogo, but behind the scenes, there's been a lot of cool updates. You know, having our rehearsals with the actors has been really cool, and like tweaking the dialogue with them, and really aiming for the most natural dialogue we can. Which
Yeah,
is so much harder. You know, it's way easier said than done. Um, and I have such a respect for people who write good dialogue now, because it's probably the toughest thing about writing, in my opinion. Um, but we have an art director now. We have a Steadicam operator who's also like our key grip. Just bringing on our we're kind of trying to finalize our main cast and crew here by the 23rd, so it's coming up quick. Um, but like we've been getting props together now, and so you know, picking out like plates and bowls and all kinds of stuff has been really fun. And yeah, I'm really excited to, you know, bring you guys this story that we're building over here patiently behind the scenes. It is crazy to think that we were shooting in less than 2 months, man. Like
I
a month and
know.
a half we were shooting.
God damn. A month and a half. That's gonna go by so fast. Oh my
People have
god.
asked, am I nervous? I'm not nervous. I'm excited, but I know it's going to take so much out of me, man. It's going to be such a big endeavor.
Oh yeah. That's gonna
I'm going to need to take a week off after that shit wraps. Oh, yeah, but very exciting. What's one thing you're looking forward to in this next week?
um hmm. I've been home alone this weekend, so I've been just taking the time to write and finish this script I've been working on for this game, and then I'll feel good after that. So I'm looking forward to finishing that, and um trying to think what else. Oh, there's a new Megadeth album. The last Megadeth album is coming out this coming week, so that's interesting. Uh I think that's it. What about you?
I mean, obviously more around midnight stuff. Hoping we cross our initial crowdfunding goal here in the next week. I think that'd be really cool to cross that, so that we can start essentially the overperforming part of our campaign. Which is going to help us, you know, make the film that much better. Looking forward to locking in the cast and crew. Looking forward to getting our scheduling locked in. I just secured a car dealership today, which is really cool for the film. So
Nice.
that was it's been really interesting to practice my producing skills and make these things happen, you know, because it's you're like, ah, yeah, I'll just go do this and that, and there's always more to it than you expect, or things always, you know, are different than you expect. But yeah, no, just continuing to work on that, and I guess just making that whole process happened. You know, that's really my main focus right now. Up until we wrap shooting, is just making this movie happen, getting it shot, and then after that, it becomes patiently chugging along behind the scenes. And we'll be doing behind the scenes updates. Anybody who wants to go support the film for $10, you get monthly updates up until the film releases. So that's going to be probably like, I don't know, 18 months worth of monthly behind the scenes updates, stuff that we're not going to be releasing publicly, you know, like pictures from the shoot and things like that. Things that won't get released publicly until very close to the film coming out, cuz I learned with Pollo Loco and by watching some other content creators and how they've uh succeeded and failed at, you know, hyping up their films. It definitely seems like getting people hyped up as close to the release as possible is the better strategy, so you don't get people hyped up too soon and then they don't know when it's actually coming out. Because people have very short attention spans, so if you tell them something a year in advance, they're not going to remember that. Um, So lots of stuff going on with that. But our next episode is going to be our January Patreon Q&A. So for our Patreon members who are tier 2 and up, they can ask a question and we'll answer it on the episode. So if that's something you're interested in, go subscribe to the Patreon. If you are a member of the Patreon and have the ability to ask a question, start thinking of some fun filmmaking or movie related questions for us. And just thank you in general to our Patreon supporters for continuing to, make this show possible. We literally could not do it without you. And there are going to be some announcements coming with the Patreon. We're going to be changing up some of the perks. Going to talk to Ben a little bit about that after this episode here. But we're also, it looks like we're going to be pausing the Patreon for the month of March while I take care of that shoot. I've tried to see if it's going to be possible to shoot episodes, but I think I'm just going to be stretched way too thin. It's not gonna be good for my mental health to try and juggle that too. I already know I'm gonna have to like go do double features just to keep up with my movie reviews. So that's
Hmm.
it's gonna be tough, man. But it's all gonna be worth it. We're doing some cool stuff here, and we appreciate you guys watching or listening to the show. Next episode's episode 25, man.
Cool.
Yeah,
I didn't realize. Nice.
yeah, big milestone there. Um, but yeah, that's it for this episode. As always, I'm Derek J. Bowder,
I'm Ben Escobar.
and this is the Fellowship of the Script. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again soon for the next one. Until then, keep creating, keep pushing, and keep telling stories that matter. And go watch The Rip.
Oh yeah, go see that.
Support the industry.